Hi, I'm David Kidman. I'm from the UK and I'm coming to you in this video made specially for the 2022 San Francisco Free Folk Festival. The songs I'm going to sing and share with you today all tell a story of some kind. And the first is by Richard Thompson and it tells the story of a romance through the seasons. I was 19 when I came to town. They called it the summer of love. They were burning babies, burning flags, the hawks against the doves. And I took a job in the steamy, down on Cauldron Street. I fell in love with a laundry girl who was working next to me. She was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, she was running wild, said as long as there's no price on love I'll stay. And she wouldn't want me any other way. Brown hair zigzagged round her face, a look of half surprise, like a fox caught in the headlights. There was animal in her eyes. She said, young man, oh, can't you see? I'm not the factory kind, and if you don't take me out of here, I'll surely lose my mind. She was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine that I might crush her where she lay. She was a lost child, she was running wild. She said, as long as there's no price on love, I'll stay. And you wouldn't want me any other way. We busked around the market towns, picked fruit down in Kent, and we could tinker lamps and pots and knives wherever we went. And I said that we might settle down, get a few acres dug, fire burning in the hearth, and babies on the rug. She said, oh man, oh you foolish man, it surely sounds like hell. You might be lord of half the world, but you won't own me as well. She was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, so fine breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, she was running wild, said as long as there's no price on love I'll stay. And you wouldn't want me any other way. Now we were camping down the Gower one time. The work was pretty good. She thought we shouldn't wait for the frost. I thought maybe we should. And we was drinking more in those days. Tempers reached a pitch. And like a fool I let her run with the rambling itch. Well, the last I heard she's sleeping rough back on the Derby beat, a white horse in her hip pocket and a wolfhound at her feet. And they say she even married once, a man named Romany Brown, but even a gypsy caravan was too much settling down. And they say her flower is faded now, hard weather and hard booze, but maybe that's just the price you pay for the chains you refuse. Oh, she was a rare thing, fine as a bee's wing, and I miss her more than words could ever say. If I could just taste all of her wildness now, if I could hold her in my arms today. Well, I wouldn't want her any other way. Richard Thompson, Bee's Wing. The next song, seasons also play an important part in the subject of romance. In the springtime of the year, I loved and lost my dear. For love grows wild when the weather it is mild, as you shall quickly hear. Sweet time, the parsley and the thyme, the rosemary and the willow tree around my heart entwine. Then in comes sweet July, when the nightingales do fly, and lovers lay all in the hay, as pale moon fills the sky. Sweet time, the parsley and the thyme, the rosemary and the willow tree around my heart entwine. But when autumn's golden grain is gathered in again, and the turning year will bring, my dear, and an end to all my pain. Sweet time, the parsley and the thyme, the rosemary and the willow tree around my heart entwine. But in winter's cloak of grey, I will find a brighter day. Oh, and I'll not wait when summer's at the gate. A farewell, false love, away. Sweet time, the parsley and the thyme, the rosemary and the willow tree around my heart entwine. Sweet Time by Pete Mundy. And of course, time, the seasons, anything can have an effect on one's life. And this is a song called Generations of Change. My father was a bailie from a wee farm at Capely. He worked on the land all the days of his life. By the time he made second, he aye said he'd reckoned he'd ploughed near on half o' the east Nuke of Fife. He'd feed on at Randeston, Crawhill and Cleppenton, Carnbow and Carnaby and Kilrenny Mill. At Kingsbarns he married, at Boar Hills he's buried. But man, had he lived, he'd be ploughing on still. For those days were his days, those ways were his ways, to follow the plough while his back was still strong. But those days are past, and the time come at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. No, I was never plowing, to the sea I was going, to follow the fish and the fisherman's ways. In rain, hail, and sunshine I watched the lang run line, nae man mair contented his whole working day. I lang lined the flooden ground, Dutch and the Dogger Bank, pulled the big fish frae the deep devil's hole. I've side trawled off Shetland, the Faroes and Iceland, in weather much worse than a body could thole. For that day was my day, and that way was my way, to follow the fish, while my back was still strong. But that day has passed, and the time come at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. Now my sons they have grown, and away they have gone, for to search for black oil in the far northern sea. Like oilmen they walk, and like Yankees they talk, and nay, there's no much in common twin my sons and me. They've rough-rigged on Josephine, Fortis and Ninian, Claymore and Dunlin and Fisher and Auk. They've made fortunes for sure, for in one trip ashore they spend more than I earned in the whole season's work. For this day is their day, and this way is their way, to ride the rough rigs, while their backs are still strong. But this day will pass, and the time come at last for the weakness of age to make way for the young. Now my grandsons are growing, to the school they're soon going, but the lang weeks of summer they spend here with me. We walk through the warm days, we talk of the old ways, the cornfields, the codfish, the land and the sea. We walk through the fields that my father once tilled, talk with the old men who once sailed with me. Man, it's been awfully good. I showed 'em all I could, oh, the past and the present, what their future might be. For the morn will be their day, and what will be their way? What will they make o' the land, sea and sky? Man, I've seen awful change, but it still seems gey strange to look at my world through a young laddie's eyes. Generations of Change by Matt Armour. Generations and generations ago, stirring tales of the sea and derring do, and in particular Sir Francis Drake, as remembered by Rudyard Kipling, set to music by Peter Bellamy. Frankie's Trade. Old Horn to all Atlantic said, "A-hey-oh to me-oh." Now where did Frankie learn his trade? For he ran me down with a three-reef mainsail all around the Horn. Atlantic said, "Oh, not from me. Away, ho, to me, oh, you'd better ask the cold North Sea, for he ran me down under all plain canvas, all around the Horn. The North Sea answered, he's my man. Away, ho, to me, oh, for he came to me when he first began. It was Frankie Drake in an open coaster, all around the sands. I caught him young and I used him sore. Hey, oh, to me, oh, so you never shall startle Frankie more without capsizing earth and all her waters all around the sands. I did not favour him at all. Hey, oh, to me, oh. I made him pull and I made him haul and stand his trick with the common sailors all around the sands. I froze him stiff and I flogged him blind. Hey, oh, to me, oh, and kicked him home with his road to find by what he could see in a 3-day snowstorm all around the sands. I learned him his trade on winter nights. Hey, oh, to me, oh, twixt Mardyke Fort and Dunkirk lights on a 5-knot tide with the forts a firing all around the sands. And before his beard began to shoot, hey, oh, to me, oh, I showed him the length of the Spaniard's foot, and I reckon he chopped the boot on it later, all around the sands. If there's a risk what you can make, hey, oh, to me, oh, that's worse than he was used to take, nigh every week in the way of his business, all around the sands. If there's a trick that you can try, hey, oh, to me, oh, which he hasn't met in times gone by, not once or twice, but 10 times over, all around the sands. If you can teach him aught that's new, hey, oh, to me, oh, I'll give you Bruges and Newport too, and the 10 tall churches that stand between 'em, all around the sands. So storm along, me gallant captains, all around the Horn. Frankie's Trade by Peter Bellamy. Music, Rudyard Kipling words. Moving on, some of the finest maritime stories in song come from the work of the late songwriter Stan Rogers. And this is a particularly fine example, A Cautionary Tale, which tells of a tragedy on the Great Lakes following a meteorological phenomenon known as the White Squall. Now it's just my luck to have the watch, with nothing left to do but watch the deadly waters glide as we roll north to the Sioux, and wonder when they'll turn again and pitch us to the rail and whirl off one more youngster in the gale. Well, the kid was so damned eager, it was all so big and new, you never had to tell him twice or find him work to do. And evenings on the mess deck, he was always first to sing and show us pictures of the girl he'd wed in spring. But I told that kid 100 times, don't take the lakes for granted. They go from home to 100 knots, so fast they seem enchanted. But tonight some red-eyed Wyerton girl lies staring at the wall, and her lover's gone into a white squall. Now it's a thing that us old-timers know. In the sultry summer calm, there comes a blow from nowhere, and it goes off like a bomb, and a 15,000-tonner can be thrown upon her beam, while the gale takes all before it with a scream. Well, the kid was on the hatches, lying staring at the sky. From where I stood, I swear I could see tears fall from his eyes. So I hadn't the heart to tell him that he should be on the line, even on a night so very warm and fine. But I told the kid 100 times, don't take the lakes for granted. They go from calm to 100 knots, so fast they seem enchanted. But tonight some red-eyed Wyerton girl lies staring at the wall, and her lover's gone into a white squall. When it struck, he sat up with a start. I roared to him, "Get down!" But for all that he could hear, I could as well not made a sound. So I clung there to the stanchions, and I felt my face go pale as he crawled hand over hand along the rail. I could feel her keeling over with the fury of the blow. I watched the rail go under him then, so terrible and slow. Then, like some great dog, she shook herself and roared upright again. Far overside, I heard him call my name. But I'd told that kid 100 times, don't take the lakes for granted. They go from calm to 100 knots, so fast they seem enchanted. But tonight some red-eyed Wyerton girl lies staring at the wall, and her lover's gone into a white squall. So it's just my luck to have the watch, with nothing left to do but watch the deadly waters glide as we roll north to the Sioux, and wonder when they'll turn again and pitch us to the rail, and whirl off one more youngster in the gale. But I tell these kids 100 times, don't take the lakes for granted. They go from calm to 100 knots, so fast they seem enchanted. But tonight some red-eyed Wyerton girl lies staring at the wall, and her lover's gone into a white squall. Yes, her lover's gone into a white squall. Stan Rogers, White Squall. Next song is concerning the afterlife. It's a story of a soldier who is on the border of death, and he approaches the gatehouse that stands between life and death, and the gatehouse keeper is there to reassure him and help him ease the transition and accept his fate. It's a song called The Gatehouse Door. Confused and dazed the soldier stood amidst men lying in the mud, his uniform encased in blood, his eyes gazed blindly on. And as the dust of battle cleared, a gatehouse through the mist appeared, and drifting softly through the fear, a voice of gentle tone. There will be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. Although he'd heard the words she'd said, he yearned a place to rest his head, to lay himself upon a bed and sleep away his pain. I need only stay a while, he cried, and as the doorway opened wide, the weary soldier stepped inside, his vigour to regain. It could be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. He found himself within a room, and peering through the darkened gloom, a wraith-like figure gently loomed, softness in her eyes. He slumped, exhausted in a chair. She placed a cup beside him there. He drank to ease his thirst and cares, to put war from his mind. There will be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. He talked of war, he talked of strife, he talked of love, he talked of life, he talked of how he missed his wife, he talked of going home. And with this vision in his sight, he vowed when morning broke the night, he'd leave this place to join the fight until the war was done. There will be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. But as he rose to make his start, he saw the blood seep from his heart. He saw the body torn apart. He heard death's empty call. So in haste he turned toward the door to set off to the raging war. But where that entrance was before, there was no sign at all. There will be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. She spoke his worries to abate. I am the keeper of the gate. I help the lost accept their fate. I help them say goodbye. And as he understood his plight, across the room he saw a light spread out till it was shining bright. It beckoned him, come by. There will be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. The soldier stood, his courage soared, and bowing thanked the gatehouse ward. Then calm the light he walked toward to greet his final home. And so he left this world behind to go the way of all mankind. His memories their peace to find, his days on earth were done. For there will be no turning back, she said, if you step through the gatehouse door, my lad. If you step through the gatehouse door. Sung by Linda Woodruff, called The Gatehouse Door. And so we come to our final story. This is the story of the demise of the Clydesdale horses who used to pull the ploughs, the Muckle horses. It's called Last Trip Home, and it's written by Davy Steele, music by John McCusker. I've worked on farms and frae the start, the Muckle horses won my heart. With big broad backs they proudly stand, the uncrowned kings of all the land. And yet, for all their power and strength, they're gentle as a summer's wind. So steady, boys, walk on, our work is nearly done. No more we'll till or plough the fields, the horses' day is gone, and this will be our last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. You'll hear men sing their songs in praise of Arab stallions in a race, or hunters that fly with the hounds to chase the fox and run him down. Oh, but none of them compare, I vow, to a working pair that pulls a plough. So steady, boys, walk on, our work is nearly done. No more we'll till or plough the fields, the horses' day is gone, and this will be our last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. In all the years I've plied my trade, and in all the fields we ploughed and laid, I never thought the time would come when a Clydesdale's work would ever end. But progress runs its driven course, and tractors have replaced the horse. So steady, boys, walk on, our work is nearly done. No more we'll till or plough the fields, the horses' day is gone, and this will be our last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. Now as we head back, our friends have lined the road to be there one last time. For none of them would want to miss the chance to see us pass like this. They'll say they saw in years to come the muckle horse's last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. Our work is nearly done. No more we'll till or plough the fields. The horse's day is gone. And this will be our last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. Our work is nearly done. No more we'll till or plough the fields. The horse's day is gone. And this will be our last trip home. So steady, boys, walk on. The Last Trip Home by Davy Steele and John McCusker. And that concludes my little concert, recorded specially for you in this video for the 2022 San Francisco Free Folk Festival. It's been great sharing these stories with you, and I hope to see you again along the road. And thank you to the San Francisco Free Folk Festival. Bye for now.